I grew up in a household. My mother loved to read, and it was always interesting to me because she read stories, the classics, the Hans Christian Andersen stories, but also in the household, stories were told. There was a Southern oral tradition of telling stories, and that's certainly where I first experienced, and I'm pretty sure there was hearing the legend of John Henry, and certainly the tales of Uncle Remus. So I grew up with those two, in a sense, seemingly different pieces of literature. The classic story or the fairy tale, the folk tale, most oftentimes the fairy tale, and then the folk tales that came directly out of my roots. So those two pieces were important to me. What I try to do also in my work, and this is for me, is to revisit that time and revisit those stories that excited me when I was a young person, and as an older person, it draws me directly to my mother or my father or hearing those stories told. It takes me back to Earlham Street. That feels good. And brings pleasure and also energy to the work that I do. So I think what I'm doing is really responding to what was important to me, those things that have stayed with me, and that I can reimagine. So, and they're also two voices, the European voice and also the African American voice. One voice, the European voice, that always begins with "once upon a time." And that once upon a time can go back. With the African American, it's quite different in many ways. There really isn't a once upon a time that takes you back too far. So those stories are much more, in a sense, contemporary to me. They speak more directly to the struggles of African Americans during that time, especially with the Uncle Remus tales and post-Civil War. And John Henry, that was so necessary for me to have an African-American tall tale hero in my life. So those stories you see in my reimagining and retelling these stories is me also talking to you about my childhood and those pieces that were important to me, and also the importance of storytelling. And I think if there's a sense of energy in my work, and passion in a work, it's because I'm reliving many times pieces of my growing up years.